rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Got to get that deep, Rick. There we go. It's Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, it is Monday. So, and by the way, today is the first day that TSA is getting some help from the ICE. Much to the Democrats' chagrin. Yeah, there was a stupid tweet by Dick Blumenthal, Tricky Dicky Blumenthal. Yeah, I don't know. Tricky Dicky is Dick Durbin, but anyway, Dick Blumenthal, Richard Blumenthal, he said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, now ICE is gonna, cause all kinds of problems, potentially arrest people." All kinds of stuff. Now, wait a minute. Let me just see what he says here. I'll get it up here. He's like, ICE agents at airports will only aggravate delays in lines, disrupting checks, interrogating travelers, dragging parents from children, detaining citizens, brutalizing families, shooting, and even killing. What an idiot. What a complete and utter idiot. I was going to talk about that, but... it's not even worth my time, to be honest with you. It's not even worth your time. Oh, these people. My God. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. For tonight's Pledge of Allegiance, we have Squish. That's right, Squishy. Squishy is up for tonight's pledge. She's over there in the box. The green room, getting herself ready, going me, getting herself all set up. And, so let's go ahead. If you are of mine, please stand or remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with good old Squish as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And I thank you, Squish, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to an email address, or attach it to an email and address it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I think I'm at 20. Oh, shoot. Am I at 22 or 23? No, I'm at 23. I'm at 23 of these now. I need 3 more to finish my goal of 26 in 2026. So if you haven't done one yet and are not afraid to do so, or not apprehensive in doing so, please go ahead and do your style of the pledge and send it in so I can get 26 out of 2026. I want it by the end of 2026. I'm at 23. I need 3 more. And if you use your phone, you can use the share option. That's the SHARE option. And that should get you the ability to email it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. And don't forget, if you create a larger file than can be emailed, just use one of the online free file sharing options like Google Drive or Dropbox or Box, and they can create a link and send it off. You can email me the link, and I'll download it and get it taken care of. And S3 Chevy says, saying the pledge is your civic duty. Yeah, just like going to jury duty as well as voting. Anyway. All right. Let's go to tonight's headline sponsor, who is, as soon as I can get my act together, because Lord knows I am not all that great at it. It is theflagshirt.com. I'm wearing one of their wonderful men's cotton polos right now. And you can get yours by going to theflagshirt.com. That's theflagshirt.com. Check out your men's, women's, kids made in the USA, all kinds of accessories in the fantastic red, white, and blue, and these fantastic patriotic styles. You can also check out their America's 250 collection, because America turns 250 years old in this July 4th for Independence Day. So, celebrate America's 250th anniversary by grabbing one of the 250th anniversary collection clothing styles. They've got some polos in there now. They have T-shirts, and it's really, they've got hats. They got a bunch to purchase from, to take a look at. So go and check it all out at theflagshirt.com. And right now they've got a Patriotic Heroes sale going on, where it's up to 60% off select styles. So that's another reason to go and check it out. And if you head on over to theflagshirt.com and go and order something, I'm going to give you a little extra incentive here. All you need to do is go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. You should be presented with a coupon code that you can copy and paste into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com and get $5 off your order on American Perspective. Go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. Be presented with that coupon code, copy and paste it into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com and get your $5 off your order. Go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. Yes, get yourself patriotized. Get ready for that 250th. Man, I went and I ordered a couple more 250 flags. One of them is a seal with the 250th in it. Yeah, let me just tell you, I had to order 2 of those. Put one away as a keepsake. The other one I'll fly, and if it fades, it fades. It's not supposed to, but it will. It might. Coming from veteran-owned Service First, because you know how I like ordering from service-connected, veteran-connected businesses. That's where The Flag Shirt is. The Flag Shirt is a veteran-owned, veteran-run business. So, you know how I like those. Support America, support our troops, support our soldiers who have given up some of their lives for the country. All right, first things first, Trump announced today that he is holding off on strikes over in Iran, but specifically over their energy sites. And the reason being is because, according to him anyway, there have been productive talks to potentially end the conflict over there. Now, notice that he's only saving the Iranian power plants. Everything else is still on the table. So, ballistic missile sites, nuclear facilities, military facilities, all of that is still on the table. But he's basically saying, yeah, you know what, we're going to postpone the strikes on your power grid for now. Now, the Iranians, of course, they're shall we say, disputing the fact that they are in talks. But then again, the Iranians also lie about everything, so it wouldn't surprise me any if they were sitting there whimpering and saying, enough, 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 and then to the public, oh no, we're taking the infidels to task. Yeah. Anyway, talk about two-faced. But anyway, President pointed out on Truth, he says, excuse me, the president pointed out on Truth, he says, I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution to our hostilities in the Middle East. He said, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. He also noted that a deal could potentially happen within those 5 days. So, yeah, and by the way, those comments come after he issued a 48-hour deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. We'll see what happens here. Now, obviously, he announced that 48-hour deadline for them to reopen the strait, and then also announced the postponement of this, and then also announced the potential of the war, well, the conflict being done within several days. And of course, that made the price of oil per barrel, like Brent crude, dropped from like 120, 125, and $125 a barrel down to under $100 a barrel. So it's going all over the place. Anyway, so, yeah, we'll just have to see how this works. I mean, obviously, this is going up and down all over the place. Well, as I pointed out in my opening, Trump deploys the ICE agents to the airports to assist the TSA on Monday. And he said he was going to do it, and he did it. There you go. So he's deployed it. Now, reportedly, time where there were several airports over the weekend that just had like hours of waiting time, meaning we're talking like some of the busiest airports in the country having like 4 or 5 hour wait times because of all the TSA agents that either called in sick or have quit or, whatever. So anyway, reportedly by one of my wonderful Whiskey Warrior P1s, apparently one of the locations, let's see, I think it's Atlanta, went from a 5+ hour wait time down to under 40 minutes at the TSA security lines. So don't think that this is, obviously Democrats, these idiots, they want everybody else to be pressured by all of this. They think that if they were to hold off on paying the TSA, that the American people would get tired of it. We're just basically playing essentially a big game of who's going to blink first. We're in a staring contest right now. The Democrats are staring at the Republicans. The Democrats are staring at the American people. And we're basically in this huge game of a staring contest to try and figure out who's going to blink first. And Trump keeps throwing in a little extra, like adding fuel to the fire, per se, and making it so that the Democrats are going to have to blink first. They're going to have, they really have no other place. They've got nowhere else to go with this stupid crap. But anyway, there was some questions by Dana Bash. I think it's Dana. Is that right? Let me see. Yeah. Tom Homan appeared on the State of the Union with Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Yeah, they don't really have any information on the State of the Union. But anyway, they are essentially, they had an interview or something, and Tom Homan kind of brings up some very interesting points. Now, one thing to keep in mind is Homan has been around for a very long time. He was given an award by President Obama during his term and he's been around for quite some time. So let's just take a listen real quick as to what he thinks this whole DHS shutdown actually is.
Republican senators say the administration has added to the latest offer. What exactly is the White House offering Democrats right now on potential new policy changes for ICE and CPB to end this impasse?
I don't think it's a really significant policy changes. I mean, I'm invited there just to explain operations and how we conduct business within ICE and CBP. But I truly believe this isn't really a policy issue. I mean, we have the same policies in place we had during Obama and Biden and Clinton and Bush 1 and Bush 2. So the policies really hasn't changed. It's the execution of those policies that we're talking about. And look, we're having good conversations, but, more conversations need to be had because we certainly can't surrender ICE's authorities and their congressionally mandated job. So we're having those discussions. It's really about policy execution more than policy.
Well, but as you know, they want it to be codified, things like agents wearing masks, the ability or the requirement to say who they are, and things of that nature. So you're saying that the White House is not open to changing any of that?
No, I'm saying the majority of it's about policy execution. We're talking about, as you see on the letter that was out the other night, we're talking about identification, badge number, name, either or, because no Border Patrol has a name on their uniform. ICE doesn't have a name on uniforms. We're talking about clear identification. We're talking about, access to detention and things like that. So, a lot of these things, as I explained to the senators, a lot of these things are already in play. And, identification has been ever since Minneapolis. And I'm trying to explain that the situation on the ground isn't the same as it was in Minneapolis. We're doing target enforcement operations, and the detention standards are the same they were in the last administration, but there was a problem with access to detention standards. That problem doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of the changes after Minneapolis has already been implemented, and that's what I'm there to explain to.
So in other words, what Tom Homan is saying, as he rightfully should, that folks, all of these policies that we have, everything that we've had, all these procedures and everything that we're talking about here that the Democrats are bitching about have basically already been in play. They've been in play for decades. So Tom Homan is basically saying, without saying it, so I'm going to say it, what are these Democrats thinking? What do they need? What are they sitting here complaining about, trying to figure out, hey, you guys are basically bitching over policy that has been in play for years, for decades? None of this makes sense in terms of why they're being this stupid about the whole thing. And let's be honest, I mean, even Americans, again, the leftist lunatics are on the side of the 80-20 rule, 80-20 issues. They're on the wrong side of it again. Well, there was a senator. I love this guy. I really do. I love this guy. Senator John Kennedy. He, let's just say he's expressing a little bit of frustration. Now, I don't necessarily hear John Kennedy get rattled very often. I certainly don't hear him, getting teed off very often. But let me just explain to you kind of how this went down. So first, he's up there talking to the Senate, and he actually proposes a resolution. And this resolution that he proposes, well, it's going to hit, let's just say, the Senate right where it really hurts. Take a listen.
Provide that when we are in a shutdown, that senators cannot be paid, cannot receive their salaries. Their checks would be, think of it this way, Mr. President, locked in a vault. And once the shutdown is over, the senators could pick them up. Now, if I think everybody in the Congress knows what I'm about to say, may be a bit cynical, but it's true. If I were king for a day, I'm not, and I don't aspire to be, and I wanted to avoid shutdowns, I would do two things. I would provide that members of Congress can't be paid during a shutdown, and I would provide that members of Congress can't leave Washington, D.C. during a shutdown. Now, I can't pass the second part of that. So I'm going to try to pass the first part of that. This resolution, again, it's not a bill, is about shared sacrifice. And I'm not doing it to punish anybody. I'm not doing it to try to embarrass anybody. I recognize that there are varying degrees of wealth among United States senators and their ability to go without a paycheck. I know and like every member of this body. And every member of this body has grown, who has a substantial amount of wealth, has achieved that wealth through their own hard work. And most, if not all of them, started with nothing. And you know what I say? God bless them. More power to them. That's America. So I want to put that up front because I'm sure that some are going to point out that some of our members are wealthier than others.
Okay. So that's what he's doing. Now, for those of you who are on the audio portion of the program, he is actually standing in the Senate chamber speaking to the Senate president. And he's basically proposed a resolution, a simple resolution, which basically means that, hey, senators do not get paid while the government is shut down. Now, I personally am going to tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that anyone in Congress should get paid or that anyone in Congress should be able to exempt themselves from any of the laws that they write. Unfortunately, that isn't the case here, at least because there is a lack of integrity on any of the people involved. But a little bit later, shortly after he was talking about this, something happened in the way of Senator Schatz. Now, Senator Schatz is, I'm not sure if he's a Democrat. I think he is. But Senator Schatz decided to interrupt Senator Kennedy while he was speaking about this resolution. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
The resolution be agreed to, and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there an objection? The objection is heard.
Now, for those on the audio portion of the program, the Senate is quiet right now because this guy, Schatz,
with respect,
objected.
I want to give my senator, my colleague, Senator Schatz, more time. As he objected and left the chamber, is he coming back? Well, wait, just one sec. I mean, is he
A quick question.
is he ill?
Kennedy is standing here, and I'm just going to point this out. Kennedy is standing here trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Schatz objected and then took off and left. Now, this caused some questioning in the mind of Senator Kennedy and a few other colleagues. Let's continue to listen.
What should I do, Mr. President? Should I give him more time or?
Mr. President, point of order. Is it appropriate for someone not to be recognized to just say, I object and run out? The senator's not been recognized. The senator had the floor, the senator from Louisiana, who's made a proposal, and then I heard some noise in the background, and that was it. But I never heard a senator being recognized, so it sounds to me that no one has been recognized to object.
Could we get a ruling, Mr. President? I don't want to be unfair to anybody. My Democratic colleagues, I told them ahead of time I'm
An
making.
objection was raised, an objection was heard.
So should we give Senator Schatz more time to come back, or? Should we give him more time to come back and explain? Wait, I see the parliamentarian giving us.
So, just so you guys understand, so everybody on the audio portion understands, I mean, everybody is sort of in shock here because Schatz, he just objects and then takes off. Doesn't explain why, doesn't explain anything. He just says, I object, and then leaves. And I don't know if you heard it, but there was like this short moment where he says, well, you know, these people will take care of it, and they take off. That isn't normal. That's not normal. And so, Kennedy's just like standing there going, what do I do here? And so he's asking the question, of course. Well, he's like, he objected and, you know, he's running away. Well, now Kennedy just gets pissed. And honestly, I can't blame him. But like I said, I've never really seen Kennedy get rattled or frazzled or anything like that. Usually he's a nice, calm, even-keeled kind of guy. But not over this BS that Schatz is doing. Take a listen.
If a member of this body disagrees with what I'm doing, then by God, they ought to come down here and stand up in front of the United States Senate and stand up in front of the American people and stand up in front of God and stand up in front of country and stand up in front of all these people, these good people that aren't being paid, and say, here's why. Maybe we need to change the Senate rules, Mr. President. I appreciate your patience. And I'd like to ask, Mr. President, this probably is an improper motion, too. I got to delve a little.
Oh, well, he's a little pissed. And I can't blame him. And mainly it's just because of the fact that, I mean, let's be honest, the Democrats have been playing around. They've played around the last time the government shut down. They're playing around now. They're playing around with people's livelihoods. And while the TSA agents and other DHS agents and Coast Guard and so on and so forth, other DHS entities are not getting paid, the Senate absolutely is. And so this is why Senator Kennedy is like, well, you know what? I want to make sure that these people are being protected. These are the American folks. These are, you know, they're on the front lines. They're doing this job. They're doing it without pay right now because other people, i.e. the Democrats, are being essentially stupid. So anyway, well, at least at this point, we don't know why Senator Schatz and that's SCHATZ, why Senator Schatz did what he did. But if he did fall ill, okay, you know, if he all of a sudden got really sick, ran off to the bathroom, okay, I agree. You can give him an excuse for that. But what's worse, though, is the fact that Schatz is reportedly being considered as one of the people who may replace Chuck Schumer as the Senate leader of the Democrats. And if this is the kind of stupid crap that he is going to do, then what the hell? Seriously, what the hell? I'm telling you, our politics is turning into a conundrum at the best and a freaking dog pile at the worst. Well, Donald Trump, in his Donald Trump way, got to the Senate, or not the Senate, sorry, the House of Representatives Democrat leader, Timu Obama himself, Hakeem Jeffries. Yep. Apparently, he also was on with Dana Bash or something this weekend. Don't know. But Donald Trump posted on True Social, he was saying that, you know, there's now that the Iranians are taken down, the next big, what do you call it? The opposition to America is the Democrat Party. And well, Hakeem Jeffries, well, he kind of took that personally. I mean, as much as he could, because he basically said the president should keep his reckless mouth shut, saying that he's going to get somebody killed. Well, I'm just going to tell you this right now, Hakeem Jeffries. You and your party have been engaging in violent rhetoric for years against this president, the Republicans, the MAGA movement, everything. You know, remember every single time you come to the podium and get behind a mic, you say the extreme MAGA Republicans? Yeah. And all of your other cohorts in the Democrat Party all talking about how the extreme MAGA Republicans, extremism, domestic terrorists, Nazis, racists, yeah, all those names that you and all of your Democrat cohorts all jump on and start talking about and calling everybody names. Yeah. And all the president says is, which is the truth, that with Iran gone, the greatest enemy that America has is the radical left, highly incompetent Democrat Party. That is Donald Trump's actual quote from his True Social account. And Donald Trump is not wrong. Just like Donald Trump was not wrong about Iran and their capabilities. Yeah. So anyway. All right. Let me take a second. Let me take a second and speak to you about the Rumble wallet. And here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons why I'm using Rumble. And they've made a way to super chat creators. Super chat is if you're in the chat, you hit the little $sign and you send off. It's like a tip in a way. They've made a way that the super chat creators, or two super chat creators, so that we get paid immediately and without any fees. YouTube and Twitch take up to 50% of all the fees when you tip creators. This method takes none. That's right, the platform itself takes zero fees. I keep nearly 100% of what you send me through the Rumble wallet. You can super chat with Bitcoin, Tether US dollars, or even Tether Gold. Stable coins. The tip will show up directly in the Rumble chat, which I'll do my best, of course, to read. And all you need to do is download the Rumble wallet on the App Store and Google Play Store and send the tips to your favorite creators. You can head off to wallet.rumble.com, or you can download the app directly from the app stores. Again, that's wallet, WALLET.rumble.com to download, or download the app directly, the Rumble Wallet app, directly from the app stores. Seriously, what an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creator economy. Shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology, just like they did with their free, as in freedom, platform right here on Rumble. Go to wallet.rumble.com, download the app, and tip your favorite creators with no fees taken by Rumble. All right. Okay. Well, I don't know how much longer the American people are really going to tolerate, is the best word, tolerate this illegal scourge that we have in America. And what I'm talking about is illegal aliens and their propensity to be murder suspects. Well, the Department of Homeland Security, even though they're not getting paid, the Department of Homeland Security identifies a murder suspect in Chicago as a Venezuelan national who was released. That's right, released by the Biden administration back in 2023. See, folks, the Democrats, they really don't give a crap. They don't care about you. They don't care about law and order. All of their actions, you know, my dad used to tell me actions speak louder than words, and I can tell you that all of their actions point to one thing and one thing only. They only care about the illegal aliens because of the potential for them to give them votes and give them power. Why do you think they're fighting against the SAVE Act, which is another 80-20 issue in America? 80%, over 80% of Americans think that the SAVE Act should be in place, that we should be using voter ID. Anyway, unfortunately for this young lady, just 18 years old. Just 18 years old. She was shot in the head. She was shot in the head. This young 18-year-old was shot in the head at 1 o'clock in the morning down by the Chicago River. And ironically, this murder took place along what is considered to be the same stretch that Governor Pritzker actually walked in one of his ads. Then he was talking about how safe Chicago is. Apparently, she was walking with friends, according to a local media report. Now, this guy, the perpetrator, was caught by Border Patrol on May 9th in 2023 by the U.S. Border Patrol, released into the country under the Biden administration. He was then released again in June 19th, 2023, after he had been arrested for shoplifting in Chicago. Now, this is part of the reason is because, again, these are sanctuary cities. Remember that whole sanctuary city stuff? Yeah. Both Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Governor Doughboy Pritzker have opposed enforcing federal immigration laws In August, Johnson signed an executive order that demanded the city not work with immigration officials to deport illegal aliens. So, even though he was collected and DHS issued, hey, hold him for us, please, we can come get him, they let him go. They let him go. Acting Assistant Secretary Lauren Biss said in a statement, this is the victim, Sheridan Gorman, had her whole life ahead of her before this cold-blooded killer decided to end her life. She was failed by open border policies and sanctuary politicians who released this illegal alien twice before he went on to commit this heinous murder. We are calling on Governor J.B. Pritzker, that's right, Doe by himself, and Chicago's sanctuary politicians to commit to not releasing this criminal, illegal alien from jail back into American neighborhoods. Yeah. This guy. Now, the case is developing. But reportedly, she was shot and killed along the same place that Governor Pritzker walked in one of his videos. Yeah. So I don't know how long the American people are gonna be here with this. I really don't. I don't know why these Americans, or the American people, I don't know why are we being so passé about this? I mean, let's face it, the majority of the people are on the side of immigration enforcement. But why are we being so passé by allowing our elected leaders to get away with this kind of crap? I mean, we should be petitioning them over and over and over again and explaining to them, hey, dumbass, you're supposed to be protecting us, using the power of not only the state government, but also the federal government to protect our asses from threats just like this. And you're not. And you're not. This was a young woman. 18 years old. 18 years old. And yet, we have young women who are between the ages of 18 and 29 who, sorry, my bad, between the ages of 15 and 44. 15 and 44. These young women, which, by the way, we call them awfuls, affluent white female urban leftists. These awfuls, 15 to 44, 40% of them would like to permanently move overseas if it was possible, according to a new Gallup poll. So, yeah. And by the way, one woman in particular learned the hard way. She moved to Costa Rica in an attempt to get away from President Trump. I don't think that really worked very well.
If you're an American who is considering leaving the country to move somewhere else, make sure that the location you choose isn't based off of fear and lack mentality. I regret moving to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country. I love the nature and wildlife, but moving to a third world country where I don't know the language, I don't have any connections, resources, or opportunities, that didn't make my life any easier by any means. I was just so scared of what's going on in America politically that I was in fight or flight. I was like, how am I going to afford to survive? Like, how am I going to find a place to live? Like, I was freaking out. And then I came here and made my life so much harder. And now I'm trying to go back, and I just like wish I didn't leave in the first place. And it's so weird to like want to move to America right now with everything that's going on. But I just left so many privileges and resources behind, and I want them back. It sucks. But I kind of grew up in an interesting way. I was like the poorest person in the wealthiest rooms throughout most of my childhood. I was extremely wealthy till I was like age 6. I had this beautiful waterfront mansion with a private beach and pool. And then my parents got divorced, and I ended up with a parent who didn't have money. So we were living out of like trailers and hotels and lower income housing, but I was still in these really wealthy situations. Like I was in private school and cotillions and dance lessons. And I always thought that I was so poor because I was the poorest person that I knew. And all of my friends had like millionaire and billionaire parents. Now that I've traveled, I've seen like real poverty, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't poor. But as a kid, I had these really luxurious vacations through my friends and family members where like my first introduction to Costa Rica, it was like when I was 17 years old. I came with my friend's family, and we stayed at exclusive resorts. We were having lunch at the Four Seasons, and like same with my Hawaii experiences. My family friends took me, and we stayed at the Grand Wailea and the Hyatt, all these really fancy luxury resorts, and we would explore the areas too. But you know, living in Nonavale or Pahoa is very different than taking a vacation at the Grand Wailea or Four Seasons. So,
you know, the one thing that I'm struck by with this individual is something that I've been explaining on this program for a very long time. We in America do not realize that even our poorest people are living far, far above the world poverty line. See, unfortunately, what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that just by the sheer nature of being born in the United States, you are far and away ahead of the next person who hasn't had that luxury. We live in a country where all opportunities are presented to ourselves. By the way, women are not oppressed. They're not oppressed here. I don't care what you think. Ladies, leftist ladies, you awfuls, I don't know where your head is. See, this is part of the reason why I call you stupid, because you literally are. Now, this young lady who I just played, she is at least partially waking up to reality. But she's still trying to figure out, well, it's the political part that's just so horrible. Folks, look, if you happen to be one of those people who want to leave, go. Nothing's stopping you. The door is freaking open. Go right through it. All I ask is that you drop your passport on the way out. You renounce your citizenship. You can do it for $450 instead of the $2,000 plus that it used to be. But go and renounce your citizenship, drop your passport off, go take off, go into the rest of the world, and don't come back. Because we, as Americans who understand that this country is the greatest country on this planet, the greatest country that history has ever seen. We know that America is great, and it's going to be greater once we clean up all of your riffraff bullcrap that you've been putting together. See, even though she is still talking, she doesn't sound like she's really learned a lot other than the fact that she realizes that, oh my God, life is tough when you don't have all of the things that cushioned you, that protected you, that were afforded to you by rich parents. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, if 40% of you want to leave, hey, like I said, the door's there. Go. Because to be honest with you, even though people have, and somebody kind of made a comment on this, they were like, yeah, all of that, all of those people that are going, well, they're leaving, and almost half of the entire reproductive population wants to leave the country. Well, here's the fact. These women aren't having kids anyway. They're also self-absorbed with themselves. They have no desire to become part of what they consider to be the patriarchal society and patriarchal norms of actually being a wife and mother. They don't want that. They're the ones running around saying that they want a career and they want to have, they want to be making billions of dollars on their own and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because it really isn't. If that's what you desire, go for it. But to sit here and to think that, hey, 40% of the people are leaving, well, guess what? So be it. They're already not part of the equation when it comes to reproducing. Hell, I would hazard a guess that at least half of those 40 have already killed a baby in their womb. I can almost guarantee you that almost half of these women that are aged, that are considering this, they've already had an abortion, at least one. Just saying. Because they have absolutely zero desire to be a wife and a mother. Now, unfortunately, those answering in these polls, let's face it, they're kind of like, well, I mean, at least I got to give props to Rosie O'Donnell. She at least gave it a try. Same thing with Ellen DeGeneres. She gave it a try. All those people that sit and talk about, if Trump gets into power, I'm gone. Well, the ones that actually left, yeah, those ones I give props for. At least they did what they said they were going to do. Still doesn't mean that they're not stupid, but at least they left. Most of this stuff and most of the people who talk about, oh, yes, I'm going to leave America. If Donald Trump gets elected, I'm leaving America. Yeah, no, you guys are just performative. You're just standing there saying that crap. You're never going to actually follow through. You're just not. And we know it. We know it. You're full of crap. But I'm serious. I mean, I'm offering this. Anybody that wants to go, seriously, I'm sure we can get a GoFundMe for you. We can give you the $450 to renounce your citizenship. Drop your passport in the basket on the way out the door. And don't ever come back. Just do it. There. That'll solve all of our problems. You are no longer here in this country hating on it, even though it is the greatest country this planet has ever seen. And we no longer have to listen to you who are privileged just by the sheer fact of being born within the borders, being given all of the opportunities in the world. I guarantee you, you're not running around with an iPhone or $1,000 shoes in a third world country. It ain't happening. There is so much privilege that we have here in the United States. Even if you go over to some of the other Western cultures, not all of them are going to be in the same boat as you in America. As we see Europe and places like England where you can't even say what you want to say, what is factually true about another religion, like the Islamists. Not necessarily all Muslims, but that the Islamists, you could say what you want about the Islamists here in the Americas, here in America, but in the United States, I should say. But you go over there and you say something about an Islamist, oh my God, you're going to get like locked up on social media. You think they're just as free as we are? No, they're not even close. They're not even close. Well, to round out the hour, here we are. There's a guy. He's a sheriff. He's a sheriff in the communist state of California. He's a sheriff in the communist state of California that is actually a Republican candidate for governor. And not that that should really matter, but it does. Because this California sheriff, who is a Republican candidate for governor, has done something that, well, let's just say is really pissing off the leftists in California. So apparently, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco has seized more than 650,000 ballots from the state's November 2025 election this past weekend. Now, this is all in part of an investigation into voter fraud. Now, officials are saying that he's not allowed to do this. I beg to differ. He is the highest ranking law enforcement officer in his county. And if laws have been broken, it is his responsibility to do it. He actually even constitutionally ranks higher than state police or any local city police, because he is elected. They are not. And I think we've discussed this once about the constitutional sheriff, which comes all the way down from the old Shire Reeve, who was the representative of the monarchy back in England. But I digress. If you want to read about that, go to theamericanview.com and search up the constitutional sheriff, and you can read all about it. But I digress. So apparently, the Riverside Election Integrity Team allegedly discovered roughly 45,000 additional votes for the county. And by additional, I mean in excess of actual voters, like registered voters in that county. And all of this, by the way, was before the state's special election on the controversial ballot measure Proposition 50. So Bianco told reporters at a Friday press conference that this investigation is simple. Simply count the ballots and compare that result with the total votes recorded. Now, Proposition 50 was, of course, a key proposal pushed by Gavin Newsom, hair gel himself, in an effort to redraw California's congressional districts to favor Democrats and counteract a similar effort by Republicans in Texas. Do you remember this? Yeah, that whole redistricting thing, which was allowed to go through. Well, if Bianco can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that there were additional votes in a county that didn't have those registered voters, well, guess what? That should probably institute an investigation across the entire state as to whether or not Prop 50 was actually passed appropriately. We're going to hopefully try and keep an eye on this, and we'll have to see what happens. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget, if you're elsewhere, or before you take off, I should say, sorry, got distracted. Before you take off, make sure you give me those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or, of course, in the case of 3 Chevy, thumbs sideways. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.